Oh, she's not afraid to step on toes. But I feel like we all go through times of our faith being tested. It's happened to me too. And you just cling in there and think, you know what? Feelings change. And you know what?
They do.
Feelings change.
Mm-hmm. My priorities are God, family, church. In that order.
It's good to raise good kids, but we want to raise godly kids. The question you really need to ask is, how often
do our husbands hang out? Megan messaged me last night. What time was it? Like after 9?
Oh, that's when I started doing my work.
And I'm like, girl, you were asking too many questions for after 9 p.m. God, it looks amazing out there.
It's so stripy. Oh, so pretty. But it's so sad that it's already almost dark out.
I know.
It truly is fall. We're in the depths of fall, which I'm not complaining about, but it's just a reminder of what comes next.
It's been so warm out. It doesn't really feel like fall, but the signs are definitely there, except for the weather.
My little guy's almost 4-year-old's drawer was so full this morning when I told him to go get dressed. He loves to pick out his own clothes. And he was in tears. He could not get any. His drawers were so full because I got out their long sleeve winter stuff, and he had a lot of hand-me-downs from his 6-year-old big brother, but I couldn't put away the short sleeve stuff yet. And I was like, yes, you poor dear, I'm sick of waiting around for it to get cold. Let's just put your long sleeve stuff in a separate drawer over in another little cupboard that we have. So now, problem solved. But yeah, it's like that limbo stage, but I'm not complaining because it is so nice to not have to worry about jackets.
It is.
You know, soon it'll be not just jackets, but it'll be coats and hats and gloves and all the things.
And we'll be back to, where's my hoodie? Where did you put my hoodie? I don't know. Where did you put your hoodie?
Or beanies. Beanies the worst.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah. My boys are a little older, so it's not quite as critical. They'll just put their hood up and call it a day. But
yeah, that's true. Yes, I learned that after, I think, my second child. I was like, I bought a cute, adorable coat, got it home, and there was no hood.
Yeah.
Rookie mistake. Never. You only make that mistake once.
Yeah.
Oh man, but we don't need to talk about winter weather yet. Praise God. It's so beautiful. So we're here at the last episode of this season, which we always like to round it out with the grand finale, a Q&A. You guys always love this so much. We asked for the questions on Instagram, our Honey I'm Homemaker Instagram, which you should definitely be following. We've low-key gone viral over there with some of our reels and stuff. We don't take ourselves too seriously over there, so
I don't allow that.
And also, you can hit the subscribe button if you have not. You made it through a whole season. Let's celebrate by hitting the thumbs up button and also subscribing. And then we also asked for questions on the community tab on YouTube. So if you saw that and you submitted a question, chances are we might get to it today. So before we get into that, though, we have to talk about our homemaking plans. So should I go first?
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm still thinking.
About your plans.
Yes.
Your homemaking plans. So tomorrow, for me, I'm planning to make good use of all of those jalapenos that are still cranking out in my garden out there. I don't know what to do with them because, I can't feed them to the kids. But I'm going to try a second attempt at Cowboy candy, which is basically a very sugary, sweet heat pepper that you put like on sandwiches, and Josh loves them on pork barbecue, just all kinds of stuff. His mom makes them, and my second cousin, Whitney, his cousin Whitney, makes them all the time too. And whenever he brings it, he's like, can I pay you for a jar? Anyway, so I'm going to try it again. I tried to do it last year and I halved the batch. And if anybody knows anything about canning, you can't adjust the recipe in any way. It's like science. It's not a suggestion. And so everything was like very rubbery, and I probably should have halved the cook time and like different things since I also halved the ingredients. So we're going to try it again tomorrow, exactly to a T, also a different recipe. And I'm excited because there's nothing that makes me feel more domesticated and proud of myself. And I feel like a kinship with my foremothers, like my grandma, my great grandma, whenever I am canning.
Okay, so I don't know if this counts as homemaking, but I guess hosting falls in under.
If you're wondering why our deodorant is just sitting here, that was from a wild ad you're about to see in just a second. You know how when you see those TikToks and reels of people opening their drawers and everything's so aesthetic and beautiful, and not my drawers.
Not mine.
But if I can make something a little prettier, I'm all about it.
Amen.
And if it works better than the ugly stuff, even better.
Even better.
Which brings us to the topic of Wild. We both love Wild natural deodorant. Wild's products do not compromise on effectiveness, and they keep you fresh for 24 hours. Their scents smell so good, but they're light, and they're not going to hit people around you over the head. They're not going to think about it, but it makes it kind of a joy to put on. They have seasonal and limited edition and classic scents with a creamy texture due to the shea butter in their formula. In your refills, you will find no phthalates, sulfates, because it is made with natural ingredients straight from nature.
My favorite part about Wild is the pretty cases, and when you pick them up, they just feel solid and quality, and they last for a lifetime. Choose a case for life. They've got a range of different options that can be personalized to suit you. I mean, I have a hot pink one. They have all different kinds, and they are all really pretty.
Megan here. They just made this bow case available. Oh my goodness, how cute is it for any time of year, really, but how awesome would this be as a stocking stuffer or a gift right around the holidays?
You can choose from over 14 refill scents, with many also insensitive. Load your refill into your case and get swiping. Knowing you'll have 24-hour freshness powered by nature. Wild also has refillable hand soap canisters and shower gel canisters that are also really pretty and add a special touch to your bathroom.
When you use our code HoneyMHomemaker20, you're going to get 20% off site-wide on whatever you choose to buy. Again, that code is HoneyMHomemaker20 for the world's best and prettiest natural deodorant.
This falls under the hosting category, which I guess is still under homemaking. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
100%.
Approval granted. I invited some of my girlfriends over for a brunch. We usually do like girls' night out, and we haven't had one for a while. And I don't know if I ever even initiated. I usually just wait till someone else does, to my shame. And this time I was like, okay, we just moved. Some of them haven't seen our new house yet. They might want to. I kind of feel like I should be the one to initiate this get together this time, since I never do. Anyway, so I messaged some of my friends and invited them over for a brunch. And I've been thinking about what I'm going to make, and I've been craving an acai bowl, and I was going to get one at Ula Bowls because my Wednesday adventure took me near one, but I also wanted to get like a burger from Wayback Burgers.
If you're wondering why she's chuckling, you have to go watch our last episode.
But they were $10 for the cheapest one, I think. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. I could make them. And Costco actually has kits that were really good. But I thought I could, if they don't have them, I can buy the base or buy the fruit and make my own. So I want to try to make acai bowls and probably some sort of quiche and maybe bacon twisties or something like that.
Oh yeah, your bacon twist recipe, I make that all the time.
Yeah, it's so good. It's just a little extra, like little special.
And it's pretty.
Yeah. So
we'll link the recipe below.
And I'll try to like set the table a little bit fancy, which isn't really my skills, but maybe I can make it look nice.
What's the occasion again? I missed that part.
It's not an occasion, it's just for fun. So that is something that I have coming up that I'm trying to think about in little pieces as I have the mental space, so that it's not like the week of and I'm like no clue what I'm doing. So I'm excited about it.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And you don't have like a serious theme, like so you can just kind of do
whatever
you
I want.
Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
It's not for a holiday. It's not for anything. So
that's sometimes the best.
Yeah.
Oh, fun hosting. I could talk about that all the time. That's awesome. So I will be fielding questions from Instagram, and Jayna will be fielding them from YouTube. So we'll hopefully get a good mix in here.
Oh, here's a good one that kind of goes with what we just talked about in our last episode. I wondered if you know of Mennonites in your community who lost faith, maybe without openly speaking about it, but are still in church and part of it all because they don't want to lose the community. I'm sure there are. But is it true faith then? Because as we talked about in the last one, true faith will not lie dormant. It will be something that you act upon. So yes, I'm sure there are. Sometimes we call those people bench warmers.
Oh, she's not afraid to step on toes.
And I feel like we probably all fall into that category at some time, at one point or another, where maybe you're just not, I don't know, your faith is suffering a little bit, but to totally lose your faith and still stay in the community, I hope that isn't happening a lot.
That question, it probably happens more so in like the Amish community, because if you are join the Amish church and then leave it, you are shunned in most districts. So shunning means you can't eat with your family. Often they ostracize you. They don't ride in cars with you often, or like things like it's a very strained relationship.
Yeah.
My friend is married to an ex-Amish guy, and yeah, he was technically shunned. The preacher came and like rebuked him and said, basically, get away from me, Satan, or something. He had a whole spiel he had to say to him. So maybe there would be more of a consequence. It's not quite like, leaving the Amish church or like even the Muslims, the way I understand and stuff. So I feel like if people, maybe I guess if their spouse wants to stay at church and they don't want to, maybe they just keep it quiet and keep going anyway. I don't know. But I feel like we all go through times of our faith being tested. It's happened to me too. And you just cling in there and think, you know what, feelings change. And you know what?
They do.
Feelings change. They do. And it's like, wow, God shows you really in a very obvious way that he is right there with you and you cannot do it without him. And yeah, it just strengthens your faith all the more.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling a little low, don't feel guilty about it, because, that's when God's working. And just keep reading your Bible. And I would really suggest, there's another question later on too about this. My advice would be to find, I think it was a question about what to do if your husband wants to leave your faith and doesn't want to be a Christian anymore. My advice would be encourage him, or you yourself, if it's you, go to somebody that you really admire and who you want to be in 20 years and talk to them, because chances are they're going to help you to prioritize and to, like, I don't know, they'll help you think straight, I think, in some ways. And if you respect them and admire them, you're going to, or your husband will, weigh their words more heavily.
Yeah.
Oh, I just filmed and posted a video about Sundays. And so this question kind of struck me. Balancing church and community with home and family. How involved are you in church? And Jayna would like to do a whole episode on this sometime, I think.
Would I?
About rest and
that angle.
How involved are you in church? And I think like we're pretty involved. I'm not super crazy involved right now, but now that my baby's a little older, I'm looking for ways to become more involved again. But I just don't. If Josh is so involved, only one of us can be involved when there's 4 kids. And so I feel like right now it's Josh's season of being a trustee, a song leader. He has a lot of different roles at church. So I can't really do as much because somebody has to watch we'd never be sitting in church together. But then I hear other people that the husband and wife run the church. Like all the jobs, all the things that have to happen are done by the husband and the wife. And like, I feel bad for you. I mean, maybe that feels like your calling and Sundays are like a work day for you. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I think there is a happy medium, And so, yes, could I maybe take more on my plate now? Yes. But realistically, Josh would have to take something off of his. So same.
So what I would like to say about that is your priorities. Okay, I guess I shouldn't speak for what everyone should be, but my priorities are God, family, church, in that order. So my family comes before church. Now we are involved at church. I teach Sunday school. I am on hospitality committee. Eric does Sunday school, not superintendent, but like he's on something he does every other Sunday. But a way that we, and maybe like there is downsides to this too, and you can judge me for this, but this is something we kind of chose for our family, is like we don't go to a lot of evening service. We do go to some, but not nearly all. We just feel like hanging out with friends, family, prioritizing our children's sleep on school nights. We just don't go to a lot of evening services. We live almost half an hour from the church that we go to, so that's an hour of driving for like an hour of a service. The church service can last 8:30, 8:45, so we're getting home late. I don't know. It's just something that you
take it week by week, it sounds like.
Yeah, but like we don't go to a lot of evening services, and I know that's like frowned upon. If the doors of church are open, you should be there. And I don't necessarily feel like that's true. I mean, evening services aren't necessarily biblical. It says that they gathered together on the first day of the week in the morning, does it not? So,
wow.
I'm just saying.
Maybe a little abusive scripture there. But.
Well, I'm just saying that, like, if getting to every single church service is putting stress on your family or compromising your children's health, or if you're taking kids to church with fevers, then maybe you need to check yourself. And like, what really are you prioritizing? I'm not saying you're prioritizing your children over your relationship with God. I'm not saying that. But like, church is important, very important. But for me personally, my family is one bump ahead of church. So you can judge me for that if you want, but that's my opinion.
Thank you to Voetberg for sponsoring today's episode. The Voetberg method approaches music differently.
With by-ear training and song-based learning, your children will be begging to play their instrument more.
Students are self-motivated by earning badges mailed to their doorstep, participating in the monthly online student showcase, and seeing dozens of other students play with their siblings and friends in the Voetberg Music Academy community.
At Voetberg Music Academy, you aren't on your own. Each student has 24/7 access to their instructor and receives personalized feedback on live coaching calls, which allows students to learn faster and easier.
Use our code HOMEMAKER20 and for less than $30, join thousands of other Christian families learning to play together with the leader of online music lessons, VoetbergMusicAcademy.com.
With new intermediate and advanced piano, ukulele, fiddle, and guitar courses, Voetberg Music Academy is your one-stop shop. From your family first unboxing your instruments to playing for worship, writing music, or playing in a family band.
The Voetberg family loves playing music together, and they want to help you bring the gift of music into your home in an affordable, efficient, and family-centered way. This month, use our code HOMEMAKER20 to get 20% off each month you're subscribed.
Get 20% off the proprietary Voetberg method experience, where siblings can share lessons and learn music in a way they'll never forget, even when lessons stop. You forgot to get meat out of the freezer and you need to get supper on the table in 30-ish minutes. What is your go-to meal, or what groceries do you always keep on hand for quick meals? Okay, 2 meals immediately popped into my mind. First being breakfast for
supper. I know.
Yes.
Oh, yes. So, dinner in your household.
Yeah, that could be, maybe you have a loaf of bread in the freezer, you can do French toast. Maybe you have English muffins in the freezer, you can do egg sandwiches. Maybe you have pancake mix, you can make pancakes. Bacon thaws very quickly. Make bacon. Potatoes, hash browns, frozen, shredded, patties, tots, whatever. Fry up some eggs. Everyone always has eggs. You always have eggs. Throw some cheese on there, you're golden. Second thing, you do not have to thaw ground beef before using it. You can throw the whole frozen chunk, run some hot water over to get the plastic off, throw the whole chunk in the kettle, and start cooking. It'll thaw. Put a lid on it. It cooks up in no time. So I would cook a pound of ground beef, add some barbecue sauce, and again, get out some sort of potato product, frozen tater tots, or baked potatoes. Baked potatoes don't take that long, especially if you cut them in chunks, put them in the oven. And I would make like a beef barbecue situation, put it over top of potatoes, serve with cheese, broccoli if I had it, green onions, sour cream, whatever you have. And that would be my 2 go-to things that I thought of off the top of my head.
We're clearly cousins. Those were my 2 things too. I was going to say the ground beef into sloppy joes and use whatever shape buns you have, because you can have it in a hot dog roll, you can have it in a hamburger bun. It works. And yeah, it thaws super fast. And I also try to plan for this, because I really don't want to I do not want to go out for fast food because we need to. Yeah. That's the worst. I would like to have it planned and look forward to, and it feels like a treat, because you already feel guilty for eating the stuff most of the time. Mm-hmm. I don't need to feel guilty twice. So I keep, we love our Sam's Club breaded chicken tenders, and they also have the grilled ones that are like reminiscent of Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets. And so I like to keep something like that in the freezer, or chicken patty sandwiches. I will put a link down below for my meal planning printable, and on there you can see where there's a spot where you can put 2 emergency meals, and those are like really lame, like freezer pizzas and stuff like that, but they're a backup plan, and I'm allowed to use at least 1 a week, so they will start backing up if you don't use them. So I'm allowed to use 1 a week or more if I need to. Like, I always plan for 2, but then hopefully only use 1. But yeah, that's kind of my system that I do. So yeah, those 2 meals are like exactly what came to my head right away.
Maybe we should get more creative, but I don't know.
It's just, I mean, that's the point. You don't have time to be creative.
Right.
You've got 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll open the fridge and just see what's staring at me. And you're right. There's often, our pasta cooks up really fast too.
Yes.
And some ground beef and pasta sauce and bits of cheese. Make like a spaghetti of some kind. How do you believe that you have grown the most in the past 12 months? If you would like to know the answer to that question, I highly recommend listening to our last episode. We talked about ways that God has been moving in our lives lately, our own specific lives. And yeah, I think it's a good listen. You guys should go check it out. We got a couple questions about this, Jayna, about the pros and cons of screen time.
I just was looking at that one.
Since this is a different one now. Help with limiting screen time. Dumb phone is not an option for me.
And then this one says, Jayna, do you ever wish you hadn't allowed screen time? Megan, do you ever wish you had allowed some?
I think this would be we're already planning our topics for our next season, which stay tuned till the end of this episode. We have some crazy announcements about our next season, but I think this is a topic we should definitely dive into more. Self-control and screen time would be a great topic, I think. But
to answer the question, so do I ever wish I would have never allowed screen time? Honestly, no, because if I decided that I didn't want my kids to have screen time at this point, I could still completely cut it off. I mean, that would be my choice. I have control over my children to a certain extent. Like, I feel like I could do that. In fact, this week I noticed, since I'm at school, my kids don't get away with nothing, because I talk to their teachers all the time. I see them in the act. I see them when they are supposed to be lining up quietly from recess and they're pulled aside and the rest of the class goes in, and them and their buddies are standing there getting a little lecture from Miss Root. So I see these things, and I saw, and I'm not expecting my kids to be perfect, okay? And I know that most parents would never be notified of these things because it's not a big deal and kids are kids. But when I start seeing multiple things in 1 week or I hear things, I'm like, okay, I will not have the delinquent child. At least I will do my best not to. So I've been seeing some things. And so I had a conversation with said child and I said, look, we're not going to have any screens this week. Nothing. Not at the neighbor's house, not at our house, no screens, no gaming for the rest of the week. And then the beginning of next week, when we get back from our vacation, I will talk to your teachers. And if they said you were good this week or they didn't have a lot of issues with you, again, I'm not expecting perfection and neither are they, then we'll talk about screens again. And man, he was so mad at me. And I was like, okay, this is a sign I probably should have, done something about, like, limited his screen time even more, because I think one of my children in particularly are very, I mean, I hate to say they're addicted, but they like it a lot more than the other one. The other one, if I take it away, is like, whatever, I'll just go do something else. One of them will throw a major fit and be very, very displeased. So he is now on, I guess, 2 days deep into no screen time. And it's fine. Today was actually much better. So it really doesn't take that long to wean them off of it if you want to. Like, I mean, if they're not sorely addicted, which I don't think mine were. So to my point, I'm still in control of the screens in our house, and yes, I allow them, but I can also take it away just like that. So,
and I'm more in love with what I did than ever, because I don't do that as much anymore. Like, if you are unfamiliar, we didn't have any screens, nothing until my oldest was 5. Then I got a tablet for them to use for some educational stuff, and they were allowed to do it like at one time of the day or whatever. Anyway, so other than that, we actually haven't even been doing that. So 0 screens has been for a long time. But this summer we got into 50 States in 50 Days by Ryan Trahan. And it was like a little treat once in a random while in the evening. But you know how that goes. Well, then it's every night they ask. And I'm like, boy, this was not a problem before. So once we were done with those, then yeah, we don't do screens for the most part. But also, I can change my mind whenever I want. So it doesn't feel like that serious of a topic to me.
I agree.
And I feel like you said, if you're not happy with what you're doing, change it. How often do people want to know how often we hang out in real life?
Ooh, it really varies.
It does, because we're about to live together for 3 days. We're about to be stuck in a massive transit van together for 5 hours.
Yeah. But I would say we see each other at least monthly beside the podcast, and sometimes more. And
sometimes by like more than once in a week. Like we have multiple overlapping friend groups. Summertime we go swimming together.
Yeah. But I would say if we go a whole month without seeing each other, that would be rare.
It would be weird, because then we sit down and podcast again and be like, what have you been up to? But like, they travel a lot, and we're pretty busy too. So.
But I don't know has there ever been a time where we didn't see each other between podcasts?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It would be rare.
The question you really need to ask is, how often
do our husbands hang out? That's what you really want to know. And it's more than us.
Yeah. I would say at least once a week.
Yeah.
Because Josh works at Eric's shop sometimes.
Yeah.
And then they golf together.
Golf often.
They probably see each other 3 days a week sometimes.
I bet they do.
Oh, man. One more question, then we'll get to more from YouTube. How come you guys don't wear cape dresses anymore?
Ooh, you're going there.
Oh, I just thought that was an interesting question. Yeah. So a cape dress, if you're not familiar, is basically a hand-sewn dress. It has like sleeves and a long skirt, and then the bodice has a separate piece on top of it. Way back in the day, it was like it dangled, and it was like a triangle shape. And over the years, it just became like this extra layer on top of your dress that you could clearly see it was an extra layer. But our wedding dresses were both cape dresses. So yeah, it's visible. You can see that. Now, honestly, nowadays for myself, most things, I do kind of agree that dresses are more modest than skirts, in the one fact that when you lift your arms up when you're wearing a skirt and a top, you have to be mindful of how long your top is, if there's a gap or not. So a lot of the time I'm still wearing a double bodice anyway, because I'm wearing an undershirt and then the shirt with it as well. I think the idea of cape dresses is more, I don't think it's about modesty as much as it is about separation.
And tradition.
Yeah, because the line of trying to look different from the world has definitely shifted over the years. And also nowadays, like, I don't know, I guess you have to ask people why. I don't think there's a ton of people that would say they wear a cape dress to be modest.
I think they would say that, but I think they're they're misguided.
I would think they would wear a cape dress to be plain, simple, and like separate from the world. It's not cheaper to wear a cape dress, especially if you don't sew. You have to pay somebody to sew them for you.
It's a fence. Like
That's true. It's like we're trying to be. Well, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a separation thing.
Okay, I have a question. We can delete this, but
it's gonna get good.
Okay, so we talk about, putting up safeguards. We like to call them safeguards in these like modesty rules about how we do this. I know it's a safeguard, it's a fence or whatever. But in the Bible, the Pharisees, were they not condemned for that very thing? Were adding to the law where they were putting what is it called when they did it in the Bible? They were tithing the tiniest little bit of herbs but forgetting the weightier matters, and they were rebuked for that, for putting safeguard. They didn't call them safeguards, they called them something else. What's the word I'm looking for? Fences, or they made the laws so much harder to protect themselves from possibly sinning. And like, how is that different from what we do?
I don't know.
Like, you can put up the fences, and if you also are doing the weightier matters, then the fences can be safeguards, and it's okay. But if you're relying on those rules and you're not also having your heart right, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, your rules can't save you.
Right.
I don't think anybody would
and
say
that was a problem with the Pharisees. They thought that their rules would save them.
I don't think anybody would say their cape dress saves them either.
I know, but like sometimes I think we get dangerously close. Like, not us, but like people.
Of course, never us. It is a very good thought, though.
I think it's a tendency of ours, or we err on that side where we think that if we look good, if we do the right things, if our dresses are a certain length or a certain style,
then we're safe, we're good, we're fine.
Then we look good, and then no one's going to question us further.
Yeah, which is very...
It's dangerous. It is. Cape dress. So, I mean, I can personally share why I stopped wearing one. I did used to wear one. I went to a church that required them. But then shortly after I started wearing a dress under that church that required it, we went to a church that did not require them. Many people still did, and it was a suggestion but not required. But while living under my parents' roof, they wanted me to wear, basically forced, although I never made an issue out of it. I just did it. I didn't really care. I wore a cape dress when I lived at home. Now, did my younger sisters have to also abide by that rule? No, they did not. But again, I didn't really care. It wasn't an issue. I didn't mind wearing them. Then when we got married, I did stop, and I don't know, I just wanted to. I just didn't want to wear it. Like, I don't know. Eric doesn't really prefer them, and it's just more fun to buy clothes than always have to make them. And I didn't have to, so I just didn't. There's not really a deeper reason, I guess.
Yeah. Love this show and always look forward to the next episode popping up in my feed.
Oh, people want to know about the bee situation, and I was just looking at that net on the what do you call it? Vent, and thinking that maybe it had to do with the bee situation.
Yes, that needs to come down because it did not work. That was another one of Josh's attempts. I don't know what happened, but the bees went away, and we don't know why. Because Josh put like traps out, traps didn't get them. I don't know. I think it just had to run its course. We got these little liquid bee things that I think they were supposed to like take it back to their hive and kill everyone. But I'm still living in fear that in the spring they'll come alive again.
So the hive you don't think was in the house after all? If they just left?
I think it was, and they're just dead in there now, wherever they're at.
Oh,
I don't know. That's my theory, but yeah, eventually it went away. Maybe prayer works. I don't know.
Maybe.
It was pretty bad there for a little.
They had bees at school, and they were in the boys' bathroom and the one classroom, and then they started making their way into the classroom, and there was a girl that was allergic to bees, so I think they're taken care of now, but it was kind of scary.
Someone asked best advice for raising good kids, and that would be a whole topic in itself. But I did want to say, let's be careful we're not parenting our children so that they look good and so that they, like, I pray every morning for my children when they're getting on the bus. And Lord, please help Fletcher. Lord, please help Ivani to be a joy to be around. Like, I want people to enjoy being around them. But I think often I catch myself parenting my kids so that they're good kids from the outside. And, like, that's one layer. I think there's absolute value in teaching them how to conform to a system or a set of rules, making them sit still in church. You know, we have the military that really has, like, you know, their guidelines and stuff. And when they go to the workplace someday, they're going to have jobs and standards and things like that. But also, I want to make sure I go to the deeper issues too sometimes, like why are they acting out and things like that. I think so many times when my children are naughty in church or something, it's like, am I parenting because I'm embarrassed that they're, you know, am I looking at them through everybody else's eyes and thinking that they're a bother? Or am I like seriously concerned about the disrespect or the disobedience or the lack of self-control or whatever it may be?
Are you embarrassed, or are you actually Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say it's good to raise good kids, but we want to raise godly kids.
With all your responsibilities, do you ever have moments of anger or sadness or being just overwhelmed, and how do you navigate that? I guess that's why I work really hard to schedule buffers into my life and not overextend or overcommit myself. I don't really have a tendency to do that, or it's not like a temptation of mine to want to be busy. I don't like being busy. So, yes, school is, it can be overwhelming at times, but that's why I'm part-time and not full-time. That's, a buffer that I have. I'm not willing to do full-time because I don't want to be overextended. I still want to be a mom and feel like I have some time at home to just be. So, yeah, I mean, everyone gets busy and stressed about, like over the time when we were moving and trying to clean up the house and all that stuff. Yeah, I was stressed, and I get angry just like everyone else and frustrated, but I wouldn't say that most of that when I have anger or whatever, that it's related to being overly busy. It's just, I don't know.
Cause for me, it definitely is.
Yeah.
Like my family would be the first to feel my irritation or like when you don't have any buffer time or you need to be here at a certain time and you pack things back to back and you have little children or whatever it is, then the littlest things that they do are so annoying. So yes, I 100% agree. Margin is so important.
And I'm not saying I don't get angry or don't get mad at my kids or don't like have those feelings, but it's not
stem from that.
It's not because I've overextended myself. It's usually because I'm doing, wasting time doing something, or I'm sidetracked or for whatever reason, because I'm human, I guess.
Yeah. There's 2 questions here. They're kind of the same. Tips for prioritizing your husband in a season of lots of little kids, and little ways to keep the spark alive in your marriage when you're not feeling very sparky. This would be another good episode at some point. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it is really good to acknowledge, and I hope that our husbands are also willing to acknowledge that there's different seasons and different capacities, and just because it's one way one week doesn't mean it's going to be the same way another week. So my prayer would be that you all have husbands that feel like they're part of, like you guys are on the same team and you both want to feel good in all areas of life, not just, what did she say? When you're not feeling very sparky.
Yeah.
I think one thing can be to take care of yourself, eat somewhat healthy, be somewhat active, have an interesting life, have things to talk about, like feel good about yourself.
Eric would say shower together. I would say let her shower by herself.
2 opposite things. So try both out.
Yeah, try both. We do have a nice big shower now, so it's definitely better to do that than it was at our old house. But one thing, I don't have little babies anymore, but one thing when I did, I remember just like looking forward to it so much. It was one of my favorite parts of the day was after the kids were in bed, we would watch a show together, just one episode, and we would sit there, we would be snuggled up together, physical contact, and we weren't on our phones. We were focusing on the same thing, even though we weren't communicating, because sometimes that's just too much, if you're sleep deprived, but you just want to spend some time together. That was something, we hardly ever do it anymore. But when we had little tiny babies and small children, we did prioritize that, and I remember just like loving that. I still do, but back then I felt like it was almost vital. Like we really enjoyed that.
Something taking this suggestions from my mom on this topic sounds a little bit weird, but she never said this. I just observed this, and I've taken this into my marriage, and it is a great little way. She's asking little ways to keep the spark alive, and that's when you're driving. At least for us, Josh drives most of the time, and I'm the passenger princess, and I can get caught up on my phone most of the time. I'm like answering DMs, and like I have email, like it's my work time. This is great, and he likes to listen to his sports radio and whatever, but I've tried to more so in this past year to be off my phone, and if he's listening to the football game and it's boring me out of my mind or whatever, doesn't matter, just look out the window. But then I like to give him a neck rub while he's driving, and I had no idea, but the other day he told me how much he absolutely loves that, and it makes me in a good mood too for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, some little things.
Eric would love that too.
Oh man, I've actually become more touchy the more kids I've had. It's just so opposite. Most moms say it's the other way around.
Yeah.
But there's just 2 different kinds of touch in my world, and sometimes I just want to feel like desired. Yeah. Or like your children aren't desiring you, they're like needing you. Like, yeah. It's like a different feeling. Like, yeah, nobody wants to feel like needed all the time. Like sometimes you just want to feel desired. So anyway.
How do you handle major disagreements with your spouse or children? It's very different for spouse versus children.
Spouse versus children.
Children, like, you can disagree all you want, but go to your room.
Some things are just not up for negotiation. Yeah. And actually, I really try to follow the principle of when they're young, there is no negotiation at all. And then as they're becoming like 6, 7, whatever, they start to being able to appeal or give me more information. Maybe I didn't know all the facts before I made the rule or whatever it is. And they have to learn to do that in a respectful way. So that's kind of like a transition period, I would say around the age of 5 or 6, depending how good their communication or language is. Sometimes you just have a kid that's 5 and still just throws a tantrum when you make a rule that they don't like or whatever. But then for like spouses, I feel like I've learned you can't pick a fight over every little thing. Like maybe you didn't quite agree. I feel like I just let more things like, sure, I mean, that works too. Like often it would be like, well, that's not what I was going to say, or that's not the solution I was going to bring to the table. But if you just hesitate for a second, it's like, well, that works too. We'll just do it that way. We'll be 3 minutes late to wherever because they need to swing in and do that, or like whatever, you just kind of, and then you save it for the big things, maybe more so. I think what's really hard for me is when you're in public and you both either are misunderstanding or you don't understand, like, I don't know. I was just thinking, we were at the fair the other week and somebody needed to go out with my son to help him do the potato activity thing or whatever. And I was like, go out or whatever. And he was like, no, you go out. And I'm like, why? Anyway, I couldn't go out because I had the baby and he was wet and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so he finally went out, but it was like, we couldn't even communicate about it till later. It's like, I wish there was like a word that could just be like, I can't talk now, but you got to do what I'm like. I don't know, like a Hail Mary word or something.
Yeah, we're
we'll discuss this later. You'll be on my team in a half an hour when you know all the facts. But yeah, I don't know if you have some great ideas. Start a podcast and let me listen to your thoughts.
Was it the Voetbergs that talked about one time? I forget. I think the Voetbergs talked about this. How sometimes you need. I think this was more in regards to husbands. I mean, to wives towards husbands, but how sometimes you just kind of have to like let consequences teach them instead of you trying to tell them what's going to happen, even though it's kind of almost sounds like you're parenting.
I was going to say, is this for the children or the
husband?
But
like they were saying, I forget what the story was, but like, it's not a great idea, but they're not going to listen to you. So just let them do it. And then when they find out that it's not a great idea, consequences will have taught them. And it wasn't on you, like you weren't the naggy one about it, but that's really hard to do. And sometimes you're wrong, like sometimes they are actually right, but I don't know. I can't say I have much advice for that one.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes you're right, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. Like I'm very staunch. The kids got to take their naps, and sometimes Josh is like, whatever, we'll just skip it. Well, I don't know, like, and then the 3-year-old is like a terror, and I'm like, told you so.
Yeah.
But like, it works out. They end up sleeping in your arms or something, whatever. It's a lot of things are not as big as you make them, which reminds me of this other question someone asked. Julie, she says, I'm 19 and newly married. I'm struggling to be a perfect wife.
Oh, wow.
Any advice, Julie? We are all in the same boat with you.
Yeah. Stop struggling.
I think I would stop. Yeah. Just
be. No, it's nice. It's good that you are trying and putting a lot of effort into it, but he married you because he loved you, so just be yourself. And
yeah, I think something, when I was 19, I would have a job. I had a job and I drove to work every day. So something you could do that's pretty proactive is pray about your day as you're heading to your job and think about any problems that could arise throughout the day or things that might need troubleshooting, and just pray about them or actively plan, okay, I know my husband's going to be really tired tonight because this is what he's doing today or whatever. And he's probably not going to be very hungry because it's super hot. So I'm not going to make a big, giant, full meal. And then he comes in, doesn't want to eat it. And I feel like I did all the work for nothing. And then I'm mad at him. It sounds like odd, but yeah, just planning in your head through your day, praying about it and thinking about the problems that are going to be there for that day. Don't worry about the rest of your life. Just worry about that day. And then the next morning, same thing again. Sometimes it's like we just get caught up and we don't make it a priority. And so I think if you're making it a priority and taking time to think and pray about it, you're going to be able to circumnavigate a lot of problems. Mm-hmm. Do you have any tips for moving? She says, I just got married in July. How do you guys handle the moving as newlyweds? So that's a little different. That's the
Yeah.
easiest move you'll ever have.
Yeah, I was going to say, sounds like a breeze.
Because you won't have as much stuff. But yeah, it is kind of hard. I guess it depends if your spouse has a lot of stuff too. Then you have to compromise on what you're keeping.
Yes.
But we pretty much needed every stitch of everything either of us had.
Yeah. I guess everyone's situation, your moving story and situation is different. For us, we had a period of time where we weren't packing up. It wasn't time to pack up because we didn't want to live out of boxes for multiple weeks in a row. But, you know, we knew we were moving. So just going through drawers and getting ready to pack, like throwing away everything that you possibly can that you don't want, organizing things, putting things into bins and then back into the cupboards and closets as much as you can, like stealthily packing up, I guess.
Yeah.
Decluttering. Dumpsters. Hire a dumpster. That was the best thing we did. Should have had it longer.
Yeah, you're way more free to get rid of things when you have that dumpster.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's my best tips. I feel like our moving process went pretty smoothly overall. Eric would say there's these like moving straps that you can get, and he is huge fans of those. He always brings them whenever he helps anyone move. And you just like put them over your shoulder and then under the product, and then two guys can easily lift something really heavy. So I guess just be prepared and be organized. And if you have people helping you move, don't be the one to try to lift all the heavy furniture, but someone needs to tell everyone where things are going to go. And also using clear bins is really helpful if you can get clear bins, or labeling, like not just kitchen, but like if you actually label like what's in it. Like I know I had a stack of bins in my kitchen and I was looking for something and I was like going through it, and if I would have itemized a little bit better on my list, it would have been easier. But again, that takes time too. But the more you can label, the better it'll be to unpack. And also, unpack all the boxes right away. Don't just leave them sitting around. That's so overwhelming. Like, get into your new house, unpack, and enjoy it. Like, just works. Like, I took one day and I did not stop until those boxes were unpacked. And then they were unpacked, and it was awesome. Like, just keep going until the boxes are unpacked, and then relax.
Yeah, try to be proactive on your moving day, which I understand. Like, so if you're getting married on a Saturday, which she said they just got married already, so maybe they're moving now. But if you were going to do the traditional steps of, like, moving the week before you get married or something, make sure you plan it out so that the next day or two you can just focus on putting everything where it belongs. Jayna, you were moved into your house like 2 months ahead of time, weren't you? Like, you had stuff in your cupboards.
Oh, when we got married.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we settled on the house that we bought in April and then didn't get married till August, and it wasn't a fixer-upper. We weren't really doing anything, so we had plenty of time. Yeah, everything was moved in. So that's even
nicer if you have extra time, but often with people renting and stuff, that's not the case. Here's a nice cozy question. Could you please tell us your evening routines with your kiddos?
Take a shower, brush your teeth, and go to bed.
So basically, like 10 minutes before bed, it's like we start the routine.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we have. And they're older, so they kind of do everything on their own. And then most times I go into their room, pray with them, tuck them in, and then go to my room. I usually get ready for bed the same time they are because they don't need me anymore. They just do their thing. We don't really have... Oftentimes, they'll want chocolate milk or ice cream or something before bed, so they do that. But again, they're doing that on their own. I'm fairly uninvolved with their evening routine except for tucking them in.
That's like a whole other universe.
Yeah.
Your hands, they're getting themselves ice cream. Like, I can't imagine.
It's the best. I mean, I'm not saying I don't follow them around cleaning up, but yeah, like I was like, fine, you can have ice cream, get it yourself. And I always say, if you don't make a mess, and they always still make a mess.
Yeah. I'm transitioning from a little kid routine to now I have a 6 and an 8-year-old. Like, I would like to transition these older kids into maybe a little bit of a different routine because we don't pick up the house before we go to bed, and we very well could. So I want to start that maybe more so this winter. In the summer, we're just like so busy, and we often will we have to take showers more often and baths more often because they're dirty feet and all the things. But yeah, we have bath nights where everybody gets a bath at once, and I call it a bath night because that's when they get their hair done. Like, I wash all their hair is Monday nights. I only wash their hair once a week. But then they take baths as needed, but bath night, if you will, is Monday nights. And then, take baths and showers as needed. The older they get, the more they want to take them. But yeah, I would say there's often a snack involved somewhere, and I'm still trying to figure out if I like that better before they put their PJs on or after. It just feels like if they have it on after, it's just so much more cozy, which the jury's still out on. Is it better to eat your ice cream with the nightie on and then it could get dirty? And it's not always ice cream. They often will, like, I don't know, different things. I'm trying to think what. Like maybe apple goodie, or if we have something baked, like apple dumplings or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, like a little treat before bed. And then Josh he has a very specific routine with the little boys. So with the baby, we give him his warm milk, and in his sippy cup and lay him in. And I pray over him. Like just I say, now I lay me down to sleep or whatever. Sometimes I'll sing him a song, but it's very minimal. Basically put his nightie on and plop him in bed. And actually, I don't even put his nightie on. I put his outfit on for the next day because if baby's clothes are not comfortable enough to sleep in, what are you doing putting them in those clothes in the first place? Mm-hmm. No, he's 1.5, so we're starting to do the jeans thing. So then he needs a nightie. But with the 3 and the 6-year-old, Josh goes into the boys' room and they always give me a kiss and stuff, whatever. But Josh takes time with each of them. And he said he noticed in my one son that he's very negative, like me. Mm. I can tend to see the negative in life too. And so he always tries to every evening, because Josh is very much happy-go-lucky and sees the positive, which can be a bad thing sometimes, but most of the time it's a good thing. So anyway, he will always ask, what are the good things that happened today? And then my son has to like tell him about his day, but only the good things.
Nice.
Because usually the bad things came up earlier in the day anyway, so it's fine. And I just spend a little time with Ivani and pray with her. And he does the boys, and yeah, they're in bed like around 8:30. And then I would like to say then I go to bed, but half the time I usually have other work to do or finish up. But yeah, I try not to prolong it. They have, after we say goodnight to them, they're allowed to read in their bed till whatever time we tell them. It's usually like 5 or 10 minutes after we put them to bed.
Yeah, my boys read too.
Yeah, they have their own little reading lights.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a way to wind down a little bit so they're not laying there in the dark, wide awake.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's night times are going to be earlier this winter, I feel, than they were this summer for sure. But
I like early bedtimes because honestly, I'm usually ready. Like after the boys go to bed, I'm in bed. Megan messaged me last night. What time was it? Like after 9.
Oh, that's when I started doing my work.
And I'm like, girl, you were asking too many questions for after 9 p.m. Like I will get back to you in the morning because like I cannot articulate thought anymore.
What time do you have your lights out and you're sleeping?
I don't know, by 10 for sure, but like I'm not really worth anything after 8:30, 9 o'clock. Like it's 5 of 8 now, so I'm gonna start shutting down soon.
Gotcha. See, I would say by 11 for sure, but usually between 10 and 10:30.
Like I can stay up, or I'll scroll my phone, or we'll watch something or whatever. But like, I don't know. I'm not really productive at all. Yeah. I don't like to do my work after that. Although I do like to get the house cleaned up because I have to go to school in the morning and I don't want to leave the house a wreck. So I do have the house cleaned up before I go to bed. But
yeah, sorry.
That happens earlier.
I love these kind of questions. I know they're not everybody's cup of tea, but I just find it so fascinating to hear how other people live their lives. That's how I got on YouTube in the first place, watching other people's day in the life content. Just, that's how people do it. It's so interesting. I'm just nosy, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, which brings us to the finale, the end of season 8. Can't believe it's been this long, but normally we take a 1-month break and then we come back again. This time we're going to take 2 months off and come back in the new year in 2026. So you won't see any new podcast episodes from us in November or December, but that's fine. We have so much content. You guys can find lots and lots of podcasts almost on any topic you could wish for. So feel free to use the search bar. And yeah, we would love for you to watch some of our old episodes. Often we will chit-chat about life lately, and then we'll get into the topic. So yeah, if you miss us, go find us over there at some of our other podcasts. And yeah, we're excited for the next season. We have some changes, some big things happening. But I've always heard it's best to move in silence. So we'll just give you low expectations, and then if anything happens, great.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for being here.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.